What's up, YouTube? My name is Tay, also known as the Empress of Love, and today I have a reading for you all about your habits, or habits in general. So it feels like what's being brought to my attention is that there's something weighing really heavy on you. And because there's something weighing so heavy on you, and it's really heavy on your mind, you're tending to look outside of yourself, distracting yourself, whether it's through social media, through funny videos, through TV, through phone calls with friends, through just doing random bullshit. Like, let's be real, right? It's like doing random stuff to distract yourself from what's so heavy on your mind. And God is saying, this is making it heavier. This is making it worse. This is like digging yourself in a hole. And you dig so deep that when you look up, you're like, how do I get out of this hole? And so you just keep distracting. You keep doing. You keep going. You keep talking. You keep listening. And it's not listening to what you're supposed to be listening to. It's like listening to the TV or gossip, or it just feels overloading. And it's like the exact opposite of what you're craving. But for some reason, it's being filled with the negative stuff. So God, why are they doing this? It's there might be a part of you that is afraid to listen to what your body is trying to tell you. Like, you're afraid what your body's going to say to you, and God wants me to tell you, you're not as scary as you think you are. And when you listen, it's not going to be something that's so bad. It's just right now your body is in this internal battle because your head is thinking one way, your heart is thinking another way, and your throat is not speaking. And so it's like creating this blockage in your energy. And all your body really wants from yourself is a little bit of this energy. Like, hey friend, how are you doing? Are you okay? What do you need? What's going on? What are you thinking? What feels so heavy? I feel the heaviness. I can sense something is going on. Well, let's talk about it. And instead, you're like, I'm not here. No one's home. You're like avoiding. Okay, so this is a habit of avoiding, of distracting. That is really just, it's like throwing yourself to the sharks. And God wants to talk about this. So there's a perspective that you have, and this perspective is not very helpful. And so God is pointing it out. What is their perspective about doing this? Like, why are they doing this? Because there's this fear that if you don't do all these things, you're not going to be productive. You're not going to make money. You're not going to be successful. You're not going to be able to support others, your family, your friends. You're going to lose people, lose jobs, lose opportunities, lose time. And it's almost like there's this deep fear of just relaxing, being silent, and doing nothing. It's like not answering the phone calls, not responding on Instagram, not watching the videos, not texting back, not like just doing everything. Like, chill. Chill. So what is the perspective you want them to have? It's like this time of silence and relaxation and cutting off from the world really offers you two things: stability and emotional fulfillment. And you see this family, they look pretty close-knit. And so if you're afraid of losing people, this is the very thing that can bring people closer to you, because you have more opportunity to be more present with them. And when you're present, you can see someone. I'm going to scoot forward. When you're present, you can see someone for who they are. You can be with them. You see all of them. You notice them. You hear them. And that's something that's priceless. That's something you can't really beat. And when you're doing all these things that are distracting all the time, your mind is used to never being present. And so God just wants you to see it as something that's a blessing and not a curse. Something that will grow your roots deeper than you ever thought, whether it's mentally or emotionally, or whether it's your money, whether it's your finances. And so how can they start to shift this habit? It's like taking your attention inward. So I see like a lot of your attention outward, right? And it's not going to be an easy transition of like, oh, today I'm just going to do nothing. I'm going to be with myself. You're going to be like, I'm going crazy. I'm loco. Like, instead, do it a little bit slower. Like maybe you have animals and you're like, you know, just petting your animals. It's like that therapy dog, and you're relaxing, and it's like you still have something going on. You're still touching something, or you know those like stress things. It's like you're still moving, or you're still doing, or you're still participating. You could even do like a little yoga session, or you can watch a video that is moving your body and teaching you breath work. And so it's like you're connecting to yourself still. Even though you're petting your dogs, you're connecting because you're sitting here and you're being present with the animals. And then soon that'll lead to you being present with yourself. And so it's baby steps. What else do they need to know about this? They're just saying presence creates peace. And right now you're used to like more chaos. And because your nervous system is so used to chaos. And where does this stem from? Where does this stem from? It stems from two things. Like one of the biggest things is it stems from being a very high achiever. And this could start in childhood, right? Like trying to prove to your parents that you're good enough, fighting over other siblings. There's like a little bit of jealous energy here. So it's like, oh, I want to be better than them. I want to look better. I want to be the best. And so there's a lot that stems from like really trying to be the best, trying to be the number one achiever. But this is also showing up as a shadow aspect, because while everyone around you sees you, you don't see you. And when you don't see you, and I'm saying that because you're constantly going. You're constantly doing. You're multitasking. You're overstimulated, overthinking, carrying this heavy load. And it feels like this pressure to always go and be better and do better. But it's like no matter what height you get to, you're going to continue to feel the same way. And it's like a cycle. And God is saying this presence brings peace. Wow, it's like a storm out here. A windstorm. So it's like you're in the eye of the storm. You're chasing the eye of the storm. And it's funny because it's like the storm will pass, and then you'll put yourself back in the eye of the storm, back in the center of the storm, because you're so used to that chaos. But meanwhile, you're wondering, like, why do I feel so heavy? Why is this like a burden? Why is there pressure? Why do I feel so tired? Why I'm exhausted? Why do things feel hard? And God is saying things are feeling hard because your heart is a bit blocked. Because for one, if you look yourself in the mirror and you ask yourself, am I 100% honoring myself? Your body would be like, no, son, you're not. You're not. And so that hurts your heart, because your heart is like, I thought you were protecting me. I thought you loved me. I thought you're me. So I thought you were looking out for me. And so your heart is kind of like, I don't know about that. And then on top of that, there's this tendency to want to be in the chaos because maybe you came from the chaos. Maybe chaos was always like your life day to day growing up, and your nervous system is so used to the chaos that when there's peace, you try to create the chaos. And God is saying start to notice this tendency and start to notice how you can shift away from it. But how can they shift away? Okay, so they want to talk about why this high achieving or overachieving or always going for the next thing is a shadow aspect. So why else is it a shadow aspect? Because it feels like it's never about you. Like it feels like it's about what other people are thinking and not what you're thinking. And then you get into like this real logical mindset where it's like, okay, like they would approve of me if I did this, or they would love me if I did this, or we would be friends, or our relationship would get deeper if I did this, because this is what they like. And it's not honoring you once again, right? It's like you look in the mirror and you're not honoring yourself. And because you're focused on what someone else wants, you're never knowing authentically, truly, genuinely, like, what do you want? And so that also creates a burden. And so God is saying, you don't deserve to have this burden. Yes, you're a high achiever, but you can be a high achiever in the things that you love and the things that you appreciate. Because right now you're doing it more for others than yourself, and it's creating a big imbalance. And God, what are you saying about? What else do you need to say? It's time to shift from this energy of like, heaviness, to this energy of like, oh, self-care, self-love, motherness. And so how can they do this? Like, what? Give me like some practical steps. It's like waking up without checking your phone. It's like waking up to your own energy, checking in with yourself. Like, what do I need this morning? Maybe you need to stretch. Maybe you need to lay there for a few moments. Maybe you need to pray. Maybe you need to get up and do whatever, like drink a glass of water, drink some tea, whatever this morning ritual is. And I don't think it's the same every day. This is where God is saying to start. You just wake up and you check in and you ask yourself, what do I need? And you start acting straight on what you need from the beginning of the day. So it's like, it's essentially pouring into your own cup right upon waking up, right? And so you're going to pour into your own cup right when you wake up every single morning, before you do anything else, before you check your phone, before you go on Instagram, before you go on your computer, before you ask everyone else in the house what they need, or you start making them breakfast. It's like, start here, fill yourself, and then come to the world. I just saw 11:11, and that's the first step. And God, what is the second step? The second step is awareness, and it's just being aware of your patterns, being aware of where you're people-pleasing, and how can they know if they're people-pleasing? Because when you increase your awareness, it's going to be accompanied by a feeling. And so when you're starting to become aware of if you're people-pleasing, if you are, it's going to feel a little bit heavy. It's going to feel a little bit off. It's not going to feel true to you. It's going to feel like, yeah, you're looking in the mirror and you can't fully honor yourself. But when you're not people-pleasing, it's going to feel good. Like, yeah, I want to cook you breakfast right now. I want to call and chat on the phone for an hour. Like, I have the time and space and I feel good, versus like, oh, fuck, I know I need to talk to this person. I know I need to call them back. I haven't been in the energy. And then you're like sitting on the phone talking, and it's like, here you go again. Back to your old behaviors, back to your old habits. And so this is not an easy switch, but it's all about awareness. Awareness and putting yourself first from the moment you wake up in the morning. I keep seeing a bunch of angel numbers. I also saw 1212. God is saying that this is going to be a very positive practice. This is going to be a very positive journey. It's not something to worry about. It's not something to be fearful of and to stress yourself out about when you have to tell people like, hey, you know, I don't have the capacity to talk today, or hey, I need some time for myself. Don't tie yourself to things that are a burden, things that don't matter. For example, they're showing me this as an example. I scheduled a client and then I switched his time, but he was sick, right? And I knew he was sick when I switched his time. And he responded just fine. And then I realized I switched it to the wrong time. So I was like, oh shoot, it needs to be a few hours earlier. And in my mind, I was like, I'll just hit him up in a few days. And in a few days, when he's feeling better, I'll ask him to switch to earlier. But then I sat there and I'm like, why? Why would I do that? That's just a burden. Like, that's a burden on the next few days for myself for no reason. Like, yeah, he's sick, but he just responded just fine right now. So why am I making up this whole storyline about somebody else that's maybe not even true? And so God is saying, don't be afraid. Don't make up storylines about others. Just know your story. Just know what's good for you. And if something's not good for someone else, then they can speak up as well. They have their own boundaries. They have their own life. They have their own voice. And so do you. And it's important to use it in order to live a life that you deserve, because you work way too hard to not see and experience all of the effort you put in and all of the beauty all around you. All right. I hope you enjoyed this message. If you did, please drop me some love. Please head to my website if you're looking for a personal reading. I would love to meet you, love to connect with you. But anyways, I hope you have a beautiful day. See you next time. Bye.